Guys, I have tried to film this video 4 separate times already, and like myself, my camera refuses to fucking focus. So if it doesn't work this time, that's it, I'm just blurry now. In other news, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be doing the Guilty Pleasures book tag. The Guilty Pleasures book tag was created by Savvy, and consequently she's the one that told me I should do this, and I figure if the creator of the thing tells you you should do the thing, then you kind of have to do the thing. If you want to check out the tag and maybe do it for yourself, I've linked all of Savvy's info down below, so be sure to check it out. There are 6 categories, each corresponding with the letters that spell out guilty. So let's get started. The first category is G for Goofy, a book that doesn't take itself too seriously and makes you laugh. For this one, I'm going with Sarah Kuhn's Heroine Complex, because guys, there are literal demon cupcakes with fangs that come out of a portal and try and kill you. This is the first book in a trilogy. I do have the other 2, but I haven't read them yet, but I did freaking love what I read in this one. There are dynamic, complex female characters with superpowers, and it features a whole variety of different relationships, from friendships to sibling dynamics, from a hate to love ship that is pretty epic. So if any of these things sound like your jam, definitely pick up this book. The next category is U for Underrated, a book you love that might not have a lot of stars on Amazon or Goodreads. For this one, I'm going with Melissa Albert's The Hazelwood. This is kind of surprising because this book was on the New York Times bestseller list for like a really long time. So imagine my surprise when I looked it up and it had 3.5 stars because I gave it 5. A lot of people like to call this a loosely inspired Alice in Wonderland retelling, and I guess I can kind of see that if I tilt my head and squint a little, but I think it's very much its own unique thing. It's about a girl named Alice who's been traveling with her mom, and they've been dogged by bad luck for freaking ever. Her grandmother is a rather famous, although now reclusive writer of fairy tales that has kind of a cult following, and when she dies, she leaves her estate to Alice. Around the same time, Alice's mother disappears, leaving only a note that says stay away from the Hazelwood, which is consequently the name of her grandmother's estate. Spoiler alert, Alice doesn't listen. I found it haunting, lyrical, strange, and beautiful in all the best ways. But different strokes for different folks, I guess. The next category is I for Inconceivable, a book with a ridiculous premise that you love. For this one, I'm going with Nora Sakavik's The Foxhole Court. Now, I don't know that I can actually explain the plot of this book series to you. Every time I try and talk about it, it just sounds crazy, but I'm gonna give it a shot for the sake of this video. The first thing you should know is that it centers around a fictional sport called Exie, which is a cross between hockey and rugby. The main character, Nathan, has been on the run with his mother for pretty much forever. He doesn't really know why, but he's running from some really, really bad people. And after a pretty horrific turn of events, he decides, fuck it, I'm just gonna do what I want, and decides to settle down and play Exie for a team called the Foxes. This is a problem because also on the team is a guy from his past that might recognize who he is and then unravel all the work that he's been doing to avoid being detected. But he keeps to his hardcore resolution of making the worst possible decisions ever and sticks around to play, because why not? This is the first book in the series. I have read the whole series. It does not get less insane, but I love every second of it. So if you like truly convoluted plots, angsty characters, poor decision making pretty much the entire time, and a lot of moments where you're staring at the book going, what the is happening right now? Oh my god, you can hear my cat climbing up a pole over there. Holy shit, he hasn't done this since he was like a kitten. He just did a flip. Chapter! What are you doing? Anyway, yes, if you like crazy plots with angsty characters and male-male romance, but slow burn, consider checking this out, but there are a lot of triggers. Like a lot of triggers. Just be aware, maybe look it up first and see if it's something you can handle, because there's a lot of shit that goes down in this book that's kind of rough. The next category is L for Love, a book with a simple, basic romance that you like. For this one, I'm going with Lily Anderson's The Only Thing Worse Than Me Is You. Guys, I really like this book. I think it's clever and funny, and it makes me laugh, and it makes my heart sing. It's probably my #1 favorite contemporary book that I've ever read. It follows a girl named Trixie who's had the same arch nemesis Ben for pretty much their entire lives. They've never gotten along. But after Trixie finds out an interesting piece of information about Ben, her feelings start to change a little bit. And I wouldn't call it basic. I do think it's complicated in the way that high school is complicated and feels so much bigger than us. But the book definitely focuses on the relationship, and I freaking love this relationship. It's one of the more perfect executions of hate to love, at least in my opinion. And every second I got to spend with these characters, I was like, oh, just kiss already. Anyway, if you're into that, definitely check it out. The next category is T for TV, a trashy TV show that you love. At one point, the answer to this question would have absolutely been The Vampire Diaries, at least like seasons 1 through 5. But that's not on the air anymore, so I don't know if that counts. But full disclosure, I don't actually watch a whole lot of live TV these days. It's mostly K-drama or Netflix. So I had a hard time coming up with something. I do watch Wynonna Earp, and while some episodes are trashy and there are trashy aspects of it, I don't think the show's trashy overall. I think it's actually pretty good. So for this one, I'm gonna have to go with Sci-Fi's The Magicians. The Magicians is actually based on the novel The Magicians by Lev Grossman, which I did read, although I didn't like love it. I think mainly because it was marketed as the adult version of Harry Potter. And I would agree with that if all the adults were like super maladjusted and on every drug in the known universe and screwing everybody all the time everywhere, because that's pretty much what happens in the book and on the show, but on the show it's a lot more entertaining. So if any of that sounds awesome, and it is, it's on the Sci-Fi Network. And it's also on Netflix, so if you got an hour, watch the first episode and let me know what you think. Why can't I say this word? Why can't I say category? I can say category when I'm not trying to say category. What the fuck, Diana? And the last category is Why Young, a book that is marketed for a much younger audience than you, but you still love nonetheless. For this one, I'm going with Soman Chainani's The School for Good and Evil. This is a middle grade series. I read the first 2 books. I have not read the third, but I freaking love these books. They are so full of heart. It's about 2 best friends, Sophie and Agatha, who upon embarking to the School for Good and Evil, find out they are playing different roles than they anticipated. Both of their lives are kind of flipped upside down and they have to learn to navigate their new destinies, all while maintaining their friendship, which is getting super complicated. I actually really love middle grade, and this series is such a cute take on fairy tales and what happens after they end. So if this sounds like anything you like, go ahead and pick it up. And that's it for the Guilty Pleasures book tag. I sure as hell hope I am not blurry, but we will see. And if you like any of these videos, Diana, videos, how hard is that word to say? What the hell? And if you like any of these videos, please like and subscribe. That's all from me, guys. Have a great day and be excellent to each other. Bye!